can talk about it after. That's good.
Hello and good morning. So, pretty soon, Ashley from Alpaca Your Bags Travel will be joining us to talk about demystifying planning fees. Um, it's going to be an exciting stream today, so I hope that you are ready. So, without further ado, hi, Ashley.
Hello. Good morning.
Good
Thanks for having me.
morning. No, thank you for coming. Um, you are like the planning fee guru. All things planning fees. So it was really a no-brainer to put you on the stream, get you here, talk to people about what you do, why you do it, and then add a little legal spin to it. Meaning, we'll talk about different ways on how to collect fees and how to do it legally and in line with your business. But, you go hard for making sure, you collect your fees. And I can only commend you and look at you in all like, yeah, I want to be her when I grow up. So,
Well, I want to be you when I grow up, so the feeling is mutual. Can we talk about your sparkly microphone?
oh
That is.
yes, and my brand colors. So one of the programs is, well, what I'm using now is a program called Ecamm, which allows me to broadcast to everybody who comes to the stream. I can broadcast to YouTube. I can broadcast to Facebook. things of that nature. I can record, broadcast, edit it, put it up later. And they gifted me this microphone. Um, I went on, did a couple of things for them, and they came back and was like, "Pick your color." Okay.
It's it's shiny and I like it. And it
Oh
matches your
yeah,
personality because you are
thank
also very
you.
sparkly and
Thank you.
shiny.
Yeah, I like anything that sparkles. So this was just amazing. So let's get started. Tell
Yeah.
everyone about you and in the comments. Please say hi. Let welcome Ashley, for people who are part of the Travel Esquire community. Please say hello to Ashley. Remember to ask your questions. Put a Q in front of your question. Other than that, it's just a statement. So tell us about yourself, Ashley. Give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ashley Morris, and like you said, I'm the owner of Alpaca Your Bags Travel, and I currently live in about an hour south of Kansas City, Missouri. I say currently because Matt, my husband, is active duty Air Force, and so we are here in Missouri for the moment. But where the future takes us, I don't know. So I have been in travel. I'm going into my eighth year, which
Wow.
sounds crazy. And like so many other people in the travel industry, I came to travel from another industry. So I actually came to travel from an advertising and marketing background and started Alpaca, started the business when I was still living in New York. I was living in Manhattan, working in my advertising job in advertising agencies. I started Alpaca Your Bags on my couch in my apartment in Manhattan. Um, I knew that I wanted to get out of the advertising industry, and travel has always been my passion. So I went to travel agent school. I started my business. Like I registered for my LLC sitting on my couch on a Saturday in my Manhattan apartment. And 8 years later, here we are, focusing mostly on destination weddings and groups, but we also help a lot of our clients with honeymoons, family vacations, of course, that too. The
Oh, wow.
primary business is destination weddings and groups.
That's amazing. And you and I, we met in Will Medina's Destination Wedding University group,
We
where we
did.
do take a lot of trainings from Will because that's his jam. That's his thing. And he's so infectious. So, and it became fast friends.
Yes, we did. And we have taken the show on the road now. We have
Yes.
traveled.
Yes. Yes.
We have a world tour in the works.
Yes, definitely. So, thank you again for coming on. So we're going to get right to the meat and potatoes. Just again,
Okay.
quick reminder for anybody who has questions, please put a Q in front of your comment. And then that way I know it's a question. We'll get it up here and talk to Ashley about it. So, Ashley, let's start first of all. When you started Alpaca Your Bags Travel 8 years ago, did you charge a fee? Did you start out charging fees? Why or
I
why
did. So
not?
I am probably unique in this sense. I have charged a consulting or research fee from day one of
Wow.
starting in travel. And I know to some people that may seem like a no brainer, especially if they're new to the industry. But I think it's important for people who maybe don't know the historical context of why charging a fee is so different in travel. Because those people who have been in the business for years and years, people are veterans in the industry. They were coming from a place of not charging a fee. In 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the primary income for a travel agency was a commission. And that commission was coming from a hotel, it was coming from an airline, it was coming from, all the different suppliers that we work with. But over time, like many industries, the compensation structure has changed. And so commissions have gotten to be smaller and smaller and smaller over the years. Airlines after 9/11, airlines actually stopped paying commission altogether. So for some agencies, that was a big chunk of their income that just disappeared overnight. And so over time, we have started to see this trend towards moving to charging a consulting or research fee. And basically, that just says if you would like to work with me, here is my fee structure and here's what I charge for different types of trips or different types of itineraries, what have you. So that I guess desire to charge a fee, or the situation where agents are now charging fees, is still somewhat new over the last 5 years. And you and I have talked about this before. There's almost a dividing line in the industry of veterans who say, well, I'm not charging a fee. That's not the way the industry works. But then there's this new crop of travel advisors that are modernizing the way that we do business. And they're saying, well, why shouldn't I be paid for my time? Or that commission is not enough for me to run a successful business and live on. So I need to find other ways to supplement my income. I think that historical context and background is important when we start this conversation, because some people just don't know, they just don't have the knowledge of how this industry used to be. Commissions used to be higher, a lot higher. Airlines used to pay commissions. They don't do that anymore. So how can a successful business owner bring in enough income, to run their business, but also just to be paid for their time and their expertise and their relationships with the resorts and their knowledge? I think we're all deserving of that. So I came into this industry from kind of a service background. Advertising agencies are fee based. So when you hire an advertising agency at that level, I was working in Manhattan at the time, you expect to pay, you have a scope of work that says like what your agency does and does not do. And then you pay a fee based on the size of the team you're hiring and what their expertise is. So for me, it was a no brainer. Coming from that background, I came into travel thinking, well, I'm providing a service. I know more than these people who are coming to me for my help. I want to make sure that I'm focusing my time on the people who are most ready to book and the most excited to travel. I don't want to spin my wheels with like tire kickers and window shoppers. So the easiest way for me to start my business was to say, hey, I charge, at that time, it was very small. It was $100 a trip. It was like, if you want to work with me, pay this fee and I will put you on my calendar and reserve time to work with you.
I'm going to tell you, for some people, you may think that's small, but I know people charging $25, $50 a
Well,
trip.
we'll work on them.
That, and
We'll
that's
work on
why I
them.
love you. So, yeah, with that being said, so you said a lot, you hit a lot. So let's go back a little bit and talk more about when, like, people who may have that antsiness or discomfort in charging a fee. What would be your advice to say, hey, it's time to get comfortable? I know what I would say, but you've been doing it from the beginning. So, how did you get comfortable charging fees and being consistent with charging the fee with
Mm-hmm.
everybody who encounters a pack of your bags travel?
Yeah. I hear that a lot. And I guess to that person, I would ask them to really examine what is it that makes them uncomfortable, because the fee is like the symptom, it's not the problem, if that makes sense. Like, I guess the
Yeah,
discomfort with charging a fee is a symptom of something else. Is it because you're not confident in the destinations you're selling? Is it because you're not confident in knowing which properties to recommend or not recommend? If you're planning weddings in group, are you not confident with the inner workings of a wedding in group? Like, why is it that you're uncomfortable with getting compensated for your time? I think sometimes that comes from a lack of confidence, and that's, very common, especially when people are new to the industry. They think, well, I'm brand new, I don't know what I'm doing. Why, how I don't have the right to charge a fee. Like, that's something I've heard from people before. And
yeah,
I agree. Like, I do think that's hard at the beginning when you don't have the knowledge or confidence. So I would tell that person, gain that confidence, go out and do your research, get trained, go travel to the destination. There's no better training in this business than actually traveling. Get out there and, immerse yourself in all the tools and resources that are available to you so you can gain that confidence. And then you can say, hey, like, I'm confident, I am knowledgeable, I have these relationships with these hotels and resorts, this is what I can do for you, and this is how much it costs.
that's amazing. Yeah, and but you'd be surprised how many veteran agents are not confident in charging fees. We see it in our groups all the time where
Mm-hmm.
a veteran agent is saying, well, I asked this person, but I didn't ask the next person. And they're just inconsistent. And I do agree, it's definitely a confidence level. Not necessarily on a lack of knowledge, but just confidence, period.
Mhm.
In and I'm just gonna put it out there, demanding what we're worth.
Oh, sure. And I think there's no coincidence that the vast majority of people in the travel industry are female. And
Yes.
females we have a historical precedent for undervaluing our time and our
Yes.
expertise. If there were
Yes.
more men in the travel industry, I promise you we would not be having this conversation.
Or
That's
it'll look
probably
much
a deeper
different.
and different topic, or it would be much different for sure. But I think we as women sometimes, we're helpers. We want to help. We want to get that, sense of value that comes from helping someone. And we don't always realize what that's worth. Like we do undervalue our time.
Right.
I think one way to feel more confident about that aspect, this is a good exercise. I've done this. I know you've done this too. Sit down and make a list of everything you do for a client from beginning to end. Like from that first consultation, make a list of, you know, identifying different properties, doing the
Right.
research on rates and room types, doing the research on air, helping them with their passport application, helping them, with global entry or pre-check, actually creating the proposal, booking them, dealing with schedule changes, dealing with client, room changes, payments. Like make a list of everything we do from beginning to end and then assign time to that. Like, how long it
Right.
takes you to do a proposal, how long it takes you to do a booking, how long it takes you to deal with a schedule change or, a payment. And look at first of all, that list is probably going to be much longer than you thought it would be. That's all value that you're adding to a client. And then also the time, look at all the time you're investing and figure out, what you think your hourly rate is as a, professional and
Oh.
assign a time to that. Oh, I think we lost you,
No,
Gigi.
I'm here, but my camera
The screen
is
went black for you. I don't know if people in the comments can pop up if they still see her, but on my end it's black.
no. My camera is not acting right, which is not good. So, welcome to the world of live streaming.
This is a very 2022 problem.
Yes, yes. So, I'm still here. You can still hear me.
Yes, I can.
I don't know if I'm coming back or not. It. Eesh. All right. Welcome
That's
to the
okay.
world of live streaming. If
I know
not,
what you
I
look
have
like.
a backup camera that I can hook up. But you're just gonna have to give me a moment. So let me put my backup camera on. But I do have some
Okay,
questions. We're gonna keep moving. We're not gonna stop. Um,
sure.
so here's my next question for you. When we're talking about fees, um, you know, you're right. We do have to make sure that our fees are right and commensurate with what we're doing. And we also have to make sure that we are valuing our time. That's very important. But the other part is, what advice would you give someone just starting out charging fees? And they're like, the most common question we get is, I don't know what to charge.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, it's a good one. And I would say if you're just starting with charging fees, don't worry so much about the amount at first. Worry about how you're going to explain it and what's included for that. The amount you can change over time, and I have over time tested different amounts. I charge different amounts for different trips. At this point, 8 years later, all of my consultation fees are pretty custom to what's required. So I have a good gut feel for what something should cost. But for people who are new, the amount almost doesn't even matter. Just charge something. Like just get in the practice of explaining what you do, explaining that you charge a fee, and then the mechanism to collect that, building that, and getting comfortable with that. Start small. Start with $50, $100. If that just helps you get comfortable with even saying the words, and then later on you can adjust the amount. But I do think if you are going to charge a fee, you do owe it to that client to explain what's included. And that's where that kind of service agreement document comes into play, or people call it different things. I call it a service agreement, but it's basically a description of here's what I do, here's what I don't do, pay this amount, and you'll get this service in return. I do think that anytime you're charging a fee, you do owe it to the client to give a very detailed account of what's included and what's not included. And that's important
Definitely.
to start with.
And see, that's the other part as well. A little far from my microphone as I'm trying to get this other camera up and running. Um, and thank you for your patience, everyone, with this. Oh, this is interesting. But be that as it may, we we're gonna keep moving because the production doesn't stop. So
This is real life. It happens.
yeah, oh yeah, this how you know. Like I said, I'm blessed to have a backup camera. It's just getting it up and running. So just give me a moment. So here's the next question I have for you. When you're one of the things we talked about, well, it's more of a statement, I guess. And it's more about understanding your worth and your hourly rate. And I think sitting back and looking at what your proposed commission can be, because your commission is not always going to be what you expect, especially for groups.
Right.
You may have an
Right.
estimate, but until people put that money down and until people travel, which is the important part, um, that estimate can be worth diddly squat. We've seen this and we've dealt
Oh,
with
of course.
this. So until you're able to get that information, you really don't know what you're gonna get. But think about all the things you do. You gotta put together a proposal. You're managing reservations from beginning to the end. If there's any issues that popped up, you gotta do that. You have to know about the entry requirements for the different what are they called? For the different,
Destinations.
yeah, destinations. And you have to learn know all of these other things now, especially post COVID. So if you
It's
were
our
get
jobs are so much harder
oh,
than they used to
definitely.
be. We're all doing about 30% more work than we used to be for the same amount of commission or less in some cases.
The important part is the or less. Oops, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The important part is the or less. Because now we have suppliers trying to cut us out. And so, we have all of those things that are happening all at once. And let's say you get $1,000, nice round number. You get $1,000 for your commission, and you spend 10 hours on the booking. So you're making less than minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Think
And not
about
to mention
that.
the tools well, it's that, and every business has expenses, and if you are actually running your agency as a business, not a hobby but as a business, you have costs too. You have subscriptions to tools, you have your CRM that you're paying for, you have your business insurance, you have legal fees, you have taxes
Exactly.
that you have to pay. So not only are commissions shrinking and the amount of work that we're doing is going up, but you do have overhead costs that you need to factor in as well. And so I think sometimes people think is a fee, a common like misperception, or I guess, or objection to a fee that I hear is like, well, I don't want to be greedy. Well, you're not being greedy. You're just covering your time and covering your expenses, because commissions alone are not enough to make a successful travel agency. And if you're not successful as a business owner, you can't help your clients. You can't be of service to your clients.
That's
Like,
exactly
so if
right.
we're here to serve people, which is what this business primarily is, helping and serving, we have to be on solid ground to do that, and commissions alone are not enough.
Right. And then you have to, all the things that, like you said, that you have to consider as far as the tools you need to do the job. You don't have access to them all the time. All right.
Right.
The set backup camera is not working, so I'm moving to the third crappy camera.
Back
So
up on backup on backup. You were such like you're like me. You're like a plan X person. We have 27 ways to figure this
right, we're
out.
gonna figure this out. But you know, um, so I'm gonna move over to the crappy camera. Just give me one moment.
Yeah, you're good.
Crappy camera.
There she is.
So let me put and excuse the mess in the background. I was trying so hard
I
to
was just
hide
noticing
that
that
from
the
you
first thing you can see
guys.
on my camera is my fridge, so I probably didn't choose the best background
No, I love your fridge,
in case.
so just leave that where that is. Because I didn't notice it until you said something. Ha
There you are.
ha. There we go. Success. All right. Crappy camera. We're going to deal with it. And then I will check this setup again later.
It's all
So
good.
I have
Look
my
at us. We're
good
just,
camera that
pivoting.
conked out, my backup camera that won't even turn on. So crappy camera it is.
Is this not a metaphor though for what working in travel is like?
Yes. Yes.
Something fails, you figure it out. The
When
next
you
thing
put
doesn't
them
work,
on
you
the
figure it
perfect
out.
flight and then there's flight changes. So they had a 2 hour delay to what the one you had is a 3 day.
Yeah, they just had
Like who
someone with a
does that?
schedule change that gave them a 3-day layover,
Three
and they didn't
days.
even notice until we pointed it out, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So we were talking about amounts, what to charge, and I was saying it doesn't. When you're starting out, it doesn't even matter the amount. It just matters that you get into the practice of doing it. Like
Right.
have a process for doing it. You can work on the amounts and adjust that later. Just
Right.
do something to get started. It
Right.
changes the relationship with your clients completely. That's one thing I've noticed, that just compared to me charging fees versus other agents that maybe don't charge a fee, I don't, I mean, just to be frank, I don't have a lot of the problems that I see people complaining about, in our industry groups or Facebook groups or whatnot. Like one of the biggest things that I see people, that are venting, it's about people wasting their time. And I am very fortunate because I have the structure where I have a free consultation. We talk a little bit about where they want to go, their destination, what they want to do when they're there,
Right.
and then I explain, like, this takes work. I want to prioritize my time for the people who are most ready to book and the most excited to work with me. So I charge a fee and I explain how that works. And then my time is set. My schedule is set. I know my workload. I know what I'm working on and I know what I don't. I don't have people kind of spinning my wheels and asking for quote upon quote upon quote and then not booking with me. Like once
Right.
you charge a fee, that client is committed to working with you and you do see that through. So it makes my days a lot more stable and I'm a lot more efficient with my workload because I'm only focusing on the people who are committed.
But not only that, when you go to the commitment piece, you're also talking about being ready to travel because you get a lot of
Right.
tire kickers. You ask them
Right.
questions about when do you want to travel? Oh, I don't know, the summer. I'm sorry, I
Mm-hmm.
party from Memorial Day to Labor Day. That's 5 months.
You're not ready. Well,
Yeah,
they're
I
just
need
not
you to narrow
ready.
that down. Right. And so you're right. You get more serious and people who are ready to travel. So let's talk about the legalese part of it. So I'm assuming because you know me and I say things like that in the ether, you're using a number one, a disclaimer that goes through your policies. Because I'm assuming your fees are non-refundable, correct?
Correct.
And you're
Correct.
not applying them towards the vacation.
No, I started off with what people call like a plan to go fee or a
Mm,
deposit. I started off that way, and that was very brief because honestly, the accounting of that is kind of a mess. Like, do you hold it? Do you hold it in escrow? When do you refund? Like, that part can just, what if they cancel after you apply the fee to their trip? Like, it can get messy. So
real quick.
I did start off that way, and I think that can be good training wheels for people just to get used to saying it. Like if that's like the set of training wheels that you need to kind of work your way into this world, that's great. You just have to be extremely organized and meticulous about how you account for those funds.
So I'm
For
gonna
me, it was easier
respectfully
just to go to
disagree
straight
with you
fee.
on that one, and here's why.
Yeah,
A lot of hosts don't allow it, so you got to check
it's
with your
true.
host rules. Number two, it becomes messy,
It's so messy.
and I also think that it defeats the purposes of charging a fee, because
Yeah.
charging the fee to pay for your time doing that research, and then the remainder of your fee comes when they travel and you get that commission. So if you're applying that money towards the hope of them traveling and they don't, you're still
Mhm.
out and it puts you back where
Yeah.
you started. So I
Yeah.
think if you're going to charge the fee, make it non refundable. Once you deliver that proposal and that product, you're done. Now you make changes. You may want to charge an extra fee if they're just like that indecisive. You want to start all over, yeah, you may charge a separate reduced fee, and that's fine. But I just don't think having it be applied to the vacation is conducive to your reason for charging a fee.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive. I understand that. But I also get people who say it's just easier for them to start that way. So do
Right.
that for a month, maybe, like just do it a couple of times just so you can get used to hearing the words come out of your mouth, to like physically saying it. But I found pretty early on that that was messy and that was more trouble than it was worth.
Right.
And really, the canceling part is where it becomes a problem, because if they do cancel, then you've now put that fee towards that booking. You now have to refund that back. You've just lost all that time because you actually planned the trip twice. You planned it and you canceled it. So you
Yep.
just did twice the work and got no money,
Yep.
zero, which is hard.
Yep. Very hard. And a lesson learned through COVID.
Oh gosh, yes.
Um, So let's talk again. We're gonna go to the legal slant because this is the Travel Esquire'd show. So we gotta add that legality in there. So what are you using to collect fees?
Yes. So the mechanism of how I collect I call it a planning agreement. I have what it physically is a cognito form, a program, cognitoforms.com, I'm sure it is. And that is sort of where I collect all the information that I need to plan their trip. And then there is a description of my services in that form. Here's what I do, here's what I don't do. And there is a place in that form where I physically connect the fee. Cognito Forms integrates with Square. So I'm physically using Square, but it's integrated with Cognito Forms. So when I have a consultation with someone, we talk about what they're looking for. I talk about what I do. I actually do explain on my consultations. Let me explain to you how travel agents make a living, like how we pay our bills and how we support our families. I want them to know how the industry works, like that we get paid on commission, that that commission comes when we're the ones that make the physical booking and not until the person travels. I actually explain that to my people. And
Awesome.
then I say, so to make sure I'm prioritizing my time for the people who are most ready to book and excited to work with me, I do charge a planning fee. That's that sign of commitment that we're going to work together. I'll send you my planning agreement and you can read through. If you decide to go forward, fill out the planning agreement. It's like their basic info, their contact information. I have some like buttons of like rank these things in order of importance, like adults only, family friendly, food things, big resorts, small resorts, all that good stuff. Description of my services, and there's a place to pay the fee right in the form. And I do
Awesome.
not start working until I get that service agreement back from them. That is
That's
that
important.
is the kickoff to the race. That is when I start planning,
Awesome. Awesome.
and it's with Square.
Yay. So the reason why I bring that up, because even in our travel agent travels, and if you hear stuff in the background, that is my dog deciding to play. So I
Oh,
have no control over when she
Ivy
decides
Rose.
to do her things. I'm just happy it's not a squeaky toy. So with that being said, um, a lot of people use PayPal. They use Cash App, Venmo, Zelle to collect payments. And I'm gonna be really honest with you. Um, Unless you are using the business part of the platforms, using this for a business purpose is a violation of their terms of service. They can kick you
Hmm.
out, they can block your account, refund all the fees if they figure that out. Because there's certain protections that come with utilizing those services for business that protects you as the business owner and protects the consumer. Also, a lot of people use cash and Venmo and Zelle to get around the processing fee. I'm going to tell you now, it's the cost of doing business. Write
It
it off on your taxes, take that hit, do things right. Because the repercussions of it by doing it wrong can hit you a lot harder than if you just do it
well,
right the first time.
and I think you hit the nail on the head with doing it right. Like, set yourself up for success, but also
Right.
think about the image that that presents to the potential client. Like, you do not look professional. You do not look like you have it together
That's right.
if you are sending out a Gmail address, a Cash App, like those are not professional services. You
Right.
look like a hobbyist and you look like you don't know what you're doing. Like, sorry to be blunt about it, but if you're using a Gmail address and a Cash App or a Venmo to run your business, you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
And
And
not
so
only
set
that,
yourself up for success.
it is not just that. Like if things go wrong, you
Oh,
know,
sure.
they're going to come after. These customers are relentless for their coins, and I don't blame them. And as a travel agent, I'm a person first. Ashley, you're a person first. Not everything goes as smoothly or as planned, but you
Hmm.
have certain stopgaps in the way to protect your business, to protect your reputation. And if you start cutting corners, you're removing those stopgaps, right?
Hmm.
And so now you're opening up um, complaints with government authorities against you, like attorneys general, consumer protection agencies. And you don't want that. You want to be able to show this is how I run my business. I understand this client was disgruntled or upset for whatever reason, but this is what they agreed to. And you can't do that using cash or Venmo.
No,
So
no.
there's 50 million ways to do it right. I use TravelJoy as a CRM,
Hmm.
and they allow me to direct bill, and then there I can build out my form, and then they send back an electronic signature with payment, and I don't get started until I get that.
Yeah. I know a
So
lot
if
of the CRMs now are building
right,
in that capability. And
right,
it just helps keep you organized too. Like, imagine when it comes time to do your taxes, you do have to file business taxes and you have to
right,
show that those funds were separate from your personal funds.
right.
Otherwise, it's what's it called? You'll know, commingling of
They
funds.
call
Like, if
it,
you
but they
commingle,
also call it
yeah,
piercing the corporate veil. So it
right.
opens up your personal liabilities if you're not running your business as a business. And so if you're running your fees through your personal cash app, because that's all it is, it's your personal. Okay,
Hmm.
call a spade a spade. Now you've pierced the corporate veil. So if somebody comes after you, they now come after your personal assets and your business assets. Do it right.
Hmm.
It
Nope.
pays it protects you to do it right. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Guys, don't be afraid to ask any questions. We still have some more time left. So, we really want to hear from you or thoughts, or if you're looking for pointers on how to become more confident in charging fees, definitely ask those questions now. Let's
Yeah.
see what we can do. Our goal here is to help you be more confident in charging fees and to help you set a fee, an intro fee, if you haven't charged fees yet, that you're comfortable with, and help you grow from there.
I would love to know if there's anyone on that is nervous or hasn't charged a fee yet. Like, what is stopping them? Like,
Mm,
what is
that's a
their
great
actual
question.
objection? Because maybe that's something we can work through.
And my look backs because my camera's here, my computer's here. So
Well, you've got this whole like third tier setup now that you're on like backup B and backup C, so you're all good.
exactly. Exactly. And like I have friends on right now who are more experienced streamers than me, and I'm just like I'm happy to get this run.
You're
So,
like, I did it. This is all that matters.
definitely. So
Um,
yeah, let's
did
hear
you
from you
charge fees from
guys.
the beginning? Glennie
Do
said, did
me?
you charge fees
No,
from?
I did
Yeah,
not.
great.
I did not. Some of it was confidence. Because I was newer and I really wanted to get my feet wet and understand. Like even with my law firm, I didn't charge consulting fees at first. But then I recognized that I have a so I'm gonna get in my Neeson I think I said it right. My Liam Neeson spiel say I have a certain set of skills. And with these certain set of skills, so my skills are valuable in recognizing that I now charge consultation fees and I now charge planning fees. And it doesn't matter if you're a previous customer or not, I'm gonna charge the fee. India,
Mhm.
shut up. I gave you a deal. Anyway.
But I love what you said about I have a certain set of skills because that's what I took from working in advertising. Like when I worked in advertising agencies, it was just expected. Like we know more than you, so we're going to show you, how to do what you need to do, and there's a cost to that. It's just we don't have like a physical product, right? Like we're not somebody that sells like mugs or t-shirts or whatever. Our product is our minds and our expertise and our knowledge to navigate these like weird changing times that we're living in. We know more than the average person trying to book a trip, and that is worth something. That is our product.
I want to go into something a little bit more about the knowledge because our knowledge doesn't just come from, and then we're going to take some questions. Our knowledge just doesn't come from webinars. And there's been a lot of webinars since COVID, since we couldn't travel. Now that the world is reopened, we are going to the resorts. We're putting our boots on the ground. And a lot of people are like, oh, you guys are getting deals and you're vacationing
Mm.
and so on and so. No, we're working. Um, you
I
try
would
in the
love to
scorching
show those
heat.
people my taxes
Right,
and
right,
like my line item, my expenses. Like travel is the single biggest line item
right,
in my business budget.
right. And you're gonna take time out of being in your office for a couple of days. You're looking at resorts in the scorching heat with, other people, maybe not. Hammering questions and building relationships with people. You're building relationships with the DMCs, which is the destination management companies. I don't know why I can't speak today, but whatever. And they're the people who get you, because not everybody here is travel agents. So I want to make sure everybody's on the same
Sure.
page as far as a knowledge base. So they're the people who are going to get you from the airport to your resort or hotel and or take you on your excursions. We want to know that they're giving you safe, clean cars. How do we know that? By going down and getting in those cars. They're giving you quality drivers that are not going to try and take you to Timbuktu or whatever, or shake you down or whatever. We want to be able to know that the excursions they're providing you are quality excursions where you're going to get your money's worth. But how do we
Mhm.
know that? By us going down. That costs money. We're going to go to the resorts. We're going to try out the new resorts. We're looking at the food. We're looking at the rooms. We're looking at how the customer service is. And not all, even though we may have a privy to reduced rates, we don't always take advantage of those reduced rates. I was supposed to go away tomorrow, but I'm grounded.
Oh.
And I was paying full price.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was
we've all
going,
done that.
yeah. And I want to pay full price because I want to have the experience of an actual
Right.
customer going to, going to the resort. when you pay the reduced rates, you're already pegged as a travel agent. So they're going to pull
Exactly.
out all the stops. I don't want
Yeah.
them to do that
No,
because
you
it,
almost need to be like a secret shopper. Like
right,
I actually don't like telling people that I'm a travel
right,
advisor sometimes because
right.
I want to be treated the way that everybody's treated because that's a better representation of what your client's going to get.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why, we may pay full price, but that stuff costs. Where are you going to get it from? Not just the commissions. You're not going to make enough. So,
Hmm.
charging that planning fee is really important to help you build and grow your business. So let's take some questions. Sorry for the
Yeah.
side profile, but I want to read. So, travel with Destination E. Just two questions here. So, first, what are your thoughts on scaring away clients if you charge a fee? And how much is too little or too much? Can I tackle the first one and you tackle the second?
Oh, I'm going to answer on both, whether you ask me
Okay.
to or not. But
All right.
you can
So, I
give
think
your go
our answer
ahead
for
and
the
give your
first
answer.
one is going to be the same because this is why we
Uh huh.
vibe, right?
Uh huh.
If somebody's scared off by your fee, they are not your ideal client. Save your
Literally exactly
time
what I was
and
going to
your
say.
energy for those clients who are ready, willing, and able to work with you within the construct of how you set up your business. If
Hmm.
anybody pushes your boundaries and how you set up your business, they are not the client for you.
Hmm.
Period.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Period. They're not your client. And there's more than enough business going around, and there's more than enough people who are willing to pay for expertise. Um, I always like to compare it to, I don't know, like getting work done on your car, getting work done on your house, like getting a haircut. Like, would you trust someone to cut your hair if they just did it for free? Like, no, because you don't know. They're not trained. They don't have any expertise. They don't have any background. Like, they charge you when you go get your hair done, you have to pay an amount because you're paying for that skill. Travel is the same thing. So if somebody is not willing to pay your fee or if they're scared off by your fee, they're either not really ready to travel, which will present its own problems down the road because they're not ready, or two, they're just not for you and you're taking up time. It's like the opportunity cost, like spending time with that person who doesn't respect your expertise and training and won't pay a fee. You are taking time away from finding all the other people out there that will respect your time and expertise and are willing to pay. So it's not about what you're losing with that one client, it's what you're giving up by not having time to spend with all the other people who are ready. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly. So,
They're not for you.
not for you, move on. So, there was another part. How much is too little or too much? Honestly, you need to figure out what you're worth, right? Um, if you have to start at $25 just to get in the swing of things, then start at $25. But you'll soon realize as you start doing things, and you start really looking at your value, that $25 is gonna creep up. I know people who are charging $1,500 minimum for destination weddings, and they're getting it.
Hmm.
They didn't start there, but they made their way there as they gained the confidence, the knowledge, and the expertise to do what they're doing.
Yeah. I like that. I like that knowing what you're worth, I think is part of it, but also do your research and see who is your ideal client, really understanding that, and then look at your competition in that area. So like my business is focused on destination weddings. We talked about that.
Right.
I know who my ideal or groom, bride, groom and groom. I know who my ideal wedding couple is, and I know what they do for a living. I know the other things they spend money on. I know what they value. And that's usually they are busy people who have a full time job and hobbies and a life. They don't have time to do this. So they value expertise, whether that is, paying for someone to help them find an apartment or a house or paying for someone to help them with their wedding. They value expertise and they value saving time. I know that my competition in the wedding space is not other travel advisors. I don't compete with other travel advisors. I compete with things like the Hotel Direct, or I compete with some of those big box agencies that are out there, the ones that specialize in weddings, and you see their advertising everywhere. I'm not going to mention names because it's irrelevant. But I know that when someone comes to me, it's very easy for me to say, like, this is what you get when you work with me. I offer a boutique service. I will give you one-on-one attention. You will have me as your advocate for the next year and a half, and that's very different than the other offerings that are out there. So this is what I charge, and this is why. So it's not just about knowing what you're worth, but it's really, really understanding who your ideal client is and their lifestyle and what they value. Then you can set your prices accordingly.
But you
It's all a
also
big
oops, sorry.
combination.
Yeah, but you also said very something very important, and that's the amount of time you are with your wedding couple. A year and a half on average for
Long time.
destination weddings, and you're not getting a fee. You're doing a whole lot of work for a wedding that might or might not happen.
Mm-hmm.
How is that fair to you?
It's not.
So really think about that. Like for individual vacations, think about that. You're working with someone on average 6 months. So you're spending
It's a lot.
6 months of your time, effort, resources to work on that vacation, and you have nothing on your side if that vacation doesn't go for whatever reason. Think about
Yeah.
that. How fair is that to you?
And to your clients.
Right,
Because if you're not secure in your day to day, like if you don't have a strong financial foundation, you can't do your job well.
right,
Like it's about security too, and being confident in your ability to do your job. Part of that confidence comes from security. And if you are scrambling or, desperate to take everything that comes in the door because you're so worried about your financial situation, you can't be present for your client. You can't be available and ready mentally to like solve their challenges or answer their questions, because it's like Maslow's hierarchy. Do you remember in psychology, like you have your
right.
basic needs that have to be fulfilled first? And that's true as a business too. You have to have like your basic needs as a business fulfilled, then you can invest in yourself and serve others because you're mentally available to do that when you're not
Exactly.
stressed about everything else.
Exactly. So Flora asks, do I have a planning fee waiver template like my COVID waiver? I will in a week. And for
You will now.
unfortunately I had some things come up that threw me off trying to finalize it. So I will have it in a week. So if you're on the planning Esquire, the travel Esquire'd email list, and if you're not, here's how you can get on. Ha ha. There we go. So if you're not on the list, get on the list. um you will I only send offers to those on my list, so you'll get a little smidge off once it comes out. So get on the list, then you'll be the first to know, and you get a little discount with that.
There's a lot of questions coming in. This is good.
Yes, and I am loving all of them. So let me go back up. Flora
Yeah.
was our last.
I think you're at Tiffany.
Really? Wow.
Uh, Tiffany was after Flora. Do you charge a change fee after your initial consultation fee?
Yep, yep, yep. But I think there's some above that I missed.
Oh, did I miss them?
Yeah, I missed Valencia's.
Oh,
So she's asking for an example of what the client receives for the fee.
oh, that's like your template, like your service agreement template that you were just talking about.
Yeah, yeah. But if you're talking about as what you offer, that's something you as the business owner have to decide. What are you offering for that fee? Are you offering just the planning services? So what does that mean? Like for instance, I tell them, my planning fee consists of you get three options. So if you pick one country, you get three options within that country. If you pick more than one country, those three options are spread amongst those countries. You're not getting three
Mhm.
for each country. We're not doing that.
Now you hear
Yeah,
my dog.
I
Sorry.
get it. Don't worry about it.
The
I
UPS, it's UPS guys here, so she has to tell everyone.
yes, I get it. Um, So you set those parameters. And what does that mean? You get some revisions, so on and so forth. Are you including any extra things, planning anything extras? Like, for instance, I had a couple who got engaged before they went away on their trip. I helped them plan their engagement photo shoot. I also knew them personally, so I gifted my fee to them, but I would have charged an extra fee because I don't get commission from the photographer. So the only way that I charge for that extra time is going back to the client because I'm doing more work than what I've already done. So
Yeah.
those are the things you have to decide as a business owner. What do you want to charge? Get that on pen and paper so so your client knows what exactly they're getting. Work on your spiel. Whatever your elevator speech is regarding the fee, that's what that's the services you're gonna provide.
Hmm.
So you
And
gotta
know
sit down
that
and
and
figure that out.
practice it. I love what you
Right.
said about practicing. I think sometimes people aren't like we talk about a fee and we as business owners expect that people are going to get defensive, or I think a lot of times they're not defensive, they just don't know. They just don't understand how the industry works. And so by having kind of a set offering, that template that says this is what I do, this is what I don't do, here's what you can expect, like my wedding agreements, I even have down to the number of hours. Like I will
Yep.
work on this. Like this includes a set number of hours because people just don't understand how our industry works. It is
Yep.
different than a lot of other industries out there. So I don't think that people's pushback sometimes is that they're unwilling to pay. They just don't understand. And part of our job is to educate them.
That's right.
And having that education conversation can be really enlightening because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that there's COVID requirements for certain
Right.
countries. They don't know that there's COVID requirements to come home. They don't know that transportation companies are different in what they offer, what a shared transfer is versus a private transfer. You know, all the things that we know and take for granted, people just don't know that. But so
Right.
by educating them and having that kind of standard offering, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, this is how much it costs, that's really helpful for them. And then that builds the value of the entire industry. There's
Exactly.
two things that I'm really passionate about in travel. One is charging fees, and two is licensing. I do think we need licensing of agents, similar to how realtors and anybody else that handles money is licensed. All of these things, making ourselves more professional,
I
elevates the
totally
entire
agree.
industry.
I totally
Period.
agree.
Hmm.
So Natasha says, number one, kudos to you to having his fee structure. That means that you
Yeah.
actually took the time to figure out how the fees will work within your business. That's amazing. Hats off. And so that's based on the number of travelers, 1 to 3, 3 to 9, 10 plus. That's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing
I
that.
love the sliding scale too. I do that too. I have different fees for different types of trips and groups versus non groups. I do that as well.
Right. Now, Tiffany asked, and I think I answered that question. Do you charge a change fee after your initial consultation fee? It well, a change fee is different than an additional fee. For me, I do charge if I charge a consultation fee, I generally don't charge a cancellation fee, even though it's in my terms and conditions. And that's because I do some prospective group travel, which means that you're not coming to me. I'm hosting the group. So with that, I do charge cancellation fee. Um, but if they change, it depends on what the change is.
Yeah.
And it depends for the reason why the change as well. Generally, if it's something out of the traveler's control, I wouldn't charge them a change fee. But if they come to me 10 toes down saying, we're going to go to Breathless Punta Cana, and then because this has happened. They go on some consumer site. Oh, Breathless is giving out dangerous alcohol. Their food sucks. They
Not
have a
that
huge
again.
spike in Zika cases. Whatever uneducated reason, they come to back to me in a panic and say, I want to move to Mexico. Yes, I'm charging a change fee because I'm starting over.
Mhm.
And that you're not going to diminish my hourly rate on your vacation. We're not doing that.
Yeah. I'm the same. It depends. It is in my terms and condition that there is a change fee because a lot of times those are fees passed on by the suppliers. Like a lot of times change fees are change fees. I'm not just, collecting them for the purposes of collecting them. There's a reason why. But we also have to cover our time because making those changes takes more work and that's more time that you're taking away from other clients.
Exactly. So Nikki says she hasn't charged any fees. She keeps going back and forth about it. But it looks like something she needs to do. And what we said made sense. Yeah, I'm gonna check in with you, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
I know Nikki well. So I'm gonna check in with you in a month and see where you are with charging fees. I'm telling you, I'm holding your feet to the fire for charging fees.
Well, and finding a group of people who have businesses like yours and who work the way that you want to work is really helpful with that confidence building too. Like surrounding
Exactly.
yourself with people who run your business in the way that you want to run your business, that helps with that confidence also.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask someone, you know, well, how did you get comfortable charging this amount of fee? I
Mm-hmm.
find that a lot of travel agents, for the most part, are very open and honest about the fact that they charge fees, how much fees that they charge, and their why. Um, so don't be afraid to ask. A lot of them will sit down and have that conversation with you. Kathy, yes, you're right. It takes practice to charge fee.
Mm-hmm.
I know you get nervous. Nobody wants rejection. That's like the worst thing in the world. But think about what you saved. You saved having to deal with someone who doesn't value you, doesn't value
Mm-hmm.
your time, doesn't value your expertise and what you bring to the table. They're going to question you, undermine you, suck all the life out of you, and then tell you you're a horrible travel agent because their room wasn't big enough or it wasn't the exact in front of the ocean that they were expecting. That's not
Yeah.
your ideal
It does
client.
it does take practice, and this is like so silly, but like practice. Find a friend. I'll be your friend if you want to practice your pitch on me. Like message me. I will. You can
She
practice,
will.
and I'll share mine. Like sometimes just hearing yourself say the words like is really helpful, and it does take practice. But the more you do it, and the more you get comfortable doing it, it will just
Exactly.
flow out. One piece of advice I will offer: sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we get in our own way in this conversation. Say your pitch and stop talking. Silence. Like, don't keep rambling. Don't keep going on. Shut up. Stop talking and let the person absorb what you just said. Like, don't try to justify it. Don't try to like talk yourself
Right.
into it. That just makes you sound like you're second guessing yourself. State your business, what you do, what you don't do, and stop talking and let that person respond. They're trying to process and absorb what you said. Don't try to talk them. Don't talk yourself out of it or try to talk them into it. That just makes you look like you're not confident.
Exactly.
Oh,
Eh,
Shelly, I was hoping Shelly would be on this. You know, funny
Yay!
story about Shelly. I did a panel about this for a DWHSA webinar a couple years ago,
Okay.
and I met Shelly in person at an event last year. I guess that was 2 years ago now. Wow, time is flying. And she
Okay.
stopped me in the bathroom and she was like, "Do you know I charge fees because of you?"
That's
It was
amazing.
like the greatest compliment ever.
Well, we're hoping that by the time we're done here, everybody has implemented a way to start charging fees because it's so important to build your business. So, and welcome, Shelly.
Mhm.
Yep. There we go. Oh, I like this, Mona. So Mona said that she added to her terms and conditions that
Ooh,
she'll
that's a good
charge
one.
an additional planning fee if they don't make a decision within 30 days. I like
It's
that,
a good one.
you
I have
know.
it. I say 60 days in mind. Basically, this proposal is good for 60 days, and if there's not a booking after 60 days, we have to start over. I agree. That's a great thing to add.
Yes, and welcome, Joan. And yes, I can attest. It took Joan a while to charge a fee.
But
Um,
that's such a good point.
yeah,
What she said.
it covers her daily needs while she's waiting on a commission. And that's the point. You're not coming out of pocket or doing some extreme budgeting because your commission checks can range. And a lot of things can happen between the time of deposit and travel. So yeah, you need to be able to keep up. You need to be able to, if like she has an assistant, you need to be able to pay them. You can't pay them if you're not charging fees. It's very hard unless you're doing like $10,000 to $15,000 minimum vacations all the time. And there are agents who do.
Hmm.
There may be, but for the average
I love
vacation, it's not going to be enough.
No, but I love what Joan said about the way that she's thinking about it is great. Like what I collect in fees pays for my assistant. I think of it the same way. Like what that part of my business budget, that income from fees is a significant percentage, double digit percentage of my business income. And it does pay for me to have an assistant. It pays for my Travify. It pays for my VCRM. It pays
Right,
for all the other tools that we use to run our business. So then commission is just straight income and bottom line. Like fees keep the lights on
right,
basically, so we can keep going.
right. So yeah, that I went through all the questions. A lot of people were just really agreeing with what was said. It sounds like we were helpful today. Let us know in the comments if we were. But
I concur.
if there's any other questions, let's you know we still have a well, we're a little over, but if Ashley's
Yeah, I knew
amenable,
we would go over. We
yeah,
talk.
yeah, we do, and we talk with Palomas, and then it gets real interesting.
we need to redo. We need to redo
Yeah,
that
we're
trip. I want to
overdue.
go back to Isla with you because
Okay,
that was a fun time.
okay. We will put it down, and I'll call. I'll reach out to you because
Meeting.
I've had some changes, and we haven't had a chance to connect. So we'll connect.
Oh my gosh, you and your changes.
Yeah.
You're doing well. This is a good thing. I'm proud of you and your YouTube channel
Oh,
and all
thank
the great
you.
topics that you've covered. I'm super grateful to be a part of it. And I don't know, this was fun. We should do this again.
Well, yeah.
Reading
Oh,
all these comments,
definitely.
these are great.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can announce the change now.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Um,
This is fun.
yeah. Because it does affect the Travel Esquire community. And, I'm all about transparency. Those who know me know that I am transparent. Maybe a little bit too much, but I am transparent. So, part of the Travel Esquired was born out of my law firm, Gaillard Law Firm, in which I've been helping a lot of travel agents um, solidify their business, be more confident business owners, especially in this travel industry. Um, I was recently presented an offer that I cannot refuse, which
Oh,
means that I will be re entering the 9 to 5 workforce, which means that I'm scaling back on Gaillard Law.
this explains an email I got yesterday that I was going to ask you about.
Wait, what email was this?
Well, I'll let you keep talking. I don't want to spoil your.
I didn't send out an email
No,
yet.
it wasn't from you. It was a reference situation.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
now this
yes,
is
yes.
all coming together.
Yes. So, I start that opportunity in 2 weeks. Hence my trying to get out of here tomorrow and it not working. But that does not affect Travel Esquired. It will affect the time in which I go live moving forward.
Sure.
Because I'll be on somebody else's dime, and there that is. But the new opportunity as is general counsel for a nonprofit.
That's amazing.
Um, And like I said, it's a huge career move for me. I was not looking for this. It sort of fell on my lap, and I couldn't say no.
That's how all the good things happen. It's
Yes.
awesome when you, like, somebody told me once for career advice, it's better when you're running to something and not from something.
Right.
Like, and it sounds like this kind of fell in your lap and it's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm very excited.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. So when you'll be hearing more about the changes. I'll still be selling templates. I'll still be doing the live stream. It's just probably going to go to the nighttime versus the daytime. And I'll still be here and to answer your questions. It's just that change that's happening. Um, so now everybody knows.
I bet you didn't plan on talking about that. That's
No,
fun.
no,
Well,
no.
congratulations. That's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank you. So, that's it. I'm not seeing any other question. Thank you for the congratulations, and I'm glad we were very helpful to you. Um, if you're come back, if you this is always going to be available on a replay. So I get that question a lot. Are your streams able to be replayed? Yes. Just come to my channel, get on the replay. And if there's something that we said here that you may have half heard or didn't fully understand, or a question formulates after we're done with the stream, go into the
Absolutely.
comments, write your question. I get notified. I will come back and answer your question. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to steer your friends and other colleagues to the channel. Everything that I've done so far is on the channel, on the replay. Any questions, hit the comments, and I will come back and answer them. My job here is to help you be more secure and more profitable travel agents. And I take pleasure in doing that. I also want to thank Ashley for taking the time out of her business to come and talk about this topic. When I was thinking about this topic, and let me tell you, I pay attention to those things that you talk about in the travel agent circles, and that gives me fuel for the topics that I bring to you. And when the whole feet thing was coming up, I was like, I have to get Ashley on.
Because I'm like militant about it.
She is.
It breaks my heart. It Well, because I just think it's, when I see people, I hate inefficiency. It's like something about me. And when I see people who are struggling and venting and don't know how they can like get better control of their time and better control of their schedule, better control of their emotions and feelings in life, it really all comes down to being more intentional and deliberate with your time. And the best way that we can be more intentional and deliberate with our time is to only work with those who respect our expertise and our efforts. And the mechanism for doing that in travel is to charge a fee. That
Right,
is how you get that equal exchange of respect and time. And trust me, it is life changing. You won't even know the ways that it changes your life until you do it.
right,
It's just a much more peaceful way of living. The travel industry is so hard. We're all crazy for working in it anyway. Why make it harder?
right,
Like,
right, exactly.
it's
And
just,
why deal with clients who don't respect you or your knowledge or your time? If there's a way to
it's a
weed them
good
out
thing.
from the beginning, do that.
Yeah,
All right.
good.
So
Well, thank you. This was
no
fun. It's good
problem.
to see your
Thanks,
face always.
Ashley. And so, also, next month, I am bringing on my friend Salutu Uba. He's another attorney, but he really, his niche is taxes for small
Ooh.
businesses. So please make sure you hop on next month. He is so excited to come and talk to you guys. He's not familiar with the travel niche, and so I gave him a crash course on some of the things we deal with and expenses. And he's doing his research and he is ready to go. So please tune in next month because we're going to talk about all things tax preparation and how to deal with expenses in your business. Um, as we move forward. Okay?
Well, exciting. Taxes are always exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
A necessary part of life, but
Yes, but
that's
you
a good
got to
topic.
deal with
I'll
it.
have to watch.
All right, everyone. Have a nice one. Enjoy your Wednesday.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.